Hello and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. It's a Leeds United 1, Stoke City 0. Instant match reaction with myself, Stephen Brown, and also joining me is Jason Booker. If you're watching along, please smash a like on the video, get your comments in, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Phew, well, I must say, as we're on live at the moment, we're just trying to keep up to date with what's happening in the Ipswich game. Obviously, Leeds have battled to a 1-0 victory over Stoke tonight. The Ipswich game's quite remarkable, though. They were behind twice, and they've battled back, and they're now winning 3-2 in injury time. So it's going to be, is that 6 wins on the trot now for Ipswich, I think? So the table's going to be as you were. Leicester also back to winning ways tonight. But let's focus on Leeds United. And Jason, really a game of two halves, the classic cliche, but it really rang true tonight. A very dominant first half, but a real battle that second half, wasn't it?
I think it's just going to sum up exactly what we're going to see for the rest of the season. Pretty much every game that we're going to find ourselves in, there's going to be something on the line for both teams. Leeds obviously chasing promotion, chasing the championship as well. And then, a lot of his opponents are fighting for the lives down at the bottom. I was pretty impressed with Stoke, if I'm honest. I thought they were good second half. I thought they really set about it in a bit of a different way than they had first half. I think they showed us too much respect in the first half, kind of let us come on to them, tried to hit us on the counter. That didn't really work. When they then pushed up a little bit higher and got in his faces a little bit more second half, for a period of time, it worked. They were pinning us in and not giving us an out. They were being really brave. They kind of left the worry of the ball over the top and just thought, well, we're just going to put it on your toes and then battle for them second balls. Somerville and James didn't get in and behind the back line in that second half enough for me. But saying that, they had one or two half chances. I wouldn't call them massive chances, half chances. I thought Melier had a really, really good night. He dealt with everything that came his way. And we still ended up having the better of the chances. We should have been 2 or 3 up by the end of time, really. Joseph had a great chance. There were a couple of other really good half chances. Dan James is 1-on-1. That's what we're playing for, especially late on into the game, is them counters, trying to catch teams in transition. They were left with another Jonathan Hogg moment in Pearson getting sent off. It was exactly the same, really, wasn't it? It was a mirror image of what happened at the weekend. I think we were a little bit leggy, which again is to be expected. We can't be perfect all the time.
Yeah.
So we're still carrying 1 or 2 knocks. I think we saw that with the fact that Pat and Gio came off after 70 minutes. Trying to use the squad as best we can. I thought that, we'll get into the changes, but I thought they made sense. And I think overall, it's a good night at the office. We're not going to blow teams away every single game. On another day, we win that game 3-4-0. Even given the chances that we had, we could definitely play a lot better and make it a lot more comfortable. But, teams are not just going to come and roll over. There's literally a gap now to Rotherham of 20 points, which is wild. I mean, Rotherham are so far cut adrift. But everybody else in that pack is a decent championship outfit. Sheffield Wednesday have now put up a really good run of form together, unfortunately, running into Friday's game. I think they've won 4 of the last 5. Yeah. They're now level on points with Town and with Stoke. The bottom is just nuts. There's 2 points separating. I think it's 6 teams.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's I mean, it's I think it's 7 teams now. Crazy, absolutely insane. Skip, thanks for coming, mate. Important 3 points, but a little worrying, as I was expecting more of a reaction in this game after the poor performance again. So I don't know if I agree with that, Skip. To be perfectly honest with you, mate, I think that's a tad harsh.
I don't agree either, and I don't agree because I think these games you have to apply context to them. Yeah. When you play a team that's 4th bottom 10, 15 games into the season, it's totally different to when there's 10 games left. And these players are thinking about the monies that they're going to lose when they get relegated, potentially having to leave the clubs, having a relegation on the CV. All of this heightens and, all of a sudden they grow a couple of inches taller and they're capable of getting these points. Look at QPR going to Leicester at the weekend. Even tonight, Sunderland, they're trying to fight to stay in a playoff battle. They pushed Leicester all the way. They were arguably the better team from what I've seen. Bristol City, they've still got stuff to play for, pushing Ipswich all the way. Birmingham at the weekend, with 10 men equalising against Southampton. These results were popping up all over the place. And the fact is, we were victim to one at the weekend against, a Huddersfield Town team who were battling and got the extra incentive of the derby. And then tonight again, we see it again. I don't think we should be critical of our performance. We should be fair play to Stoke. They came, they gave it everything and still lost.
Yeah. So, I think going forward, I think whichever two teams out of the cluster of four at the top that don't make it and have to go through the playoffs, I think mentally that is going to be that's going to be really difficult. I actually think if it ends up being us in the playoffs, I think that's going to be something that's going to be really really difficult to manage, because then I think you've got teams like, look at Hull. I think Hull, West Brom. These are teams that are just sitting in those playoff positions, and I personally will be really more worried about them actually than being in there with the Southampton or something, because I feel those top four teams are giving us so much this season. To end up in the playoffs, I think would be pretty brutal. But I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
I think that applies for all four of us. I think whoever it is, and bear in mind you're going to have two of them. I think it's going to apply to both. And I'm not saying I've made my opinions on this situation completely clear. I don't buy into a hoodoo or a voodoo when it comes to us being in the playoffs, but I do believe there's some credence in whoever drops out of the top two and finishes third and fourth out of these four have got a bigger mental task to overcome to win the playoffs. I think that'd apply to both of us, and I wouldn't really want to play with West Brom, and I wouldn't really want to play Hull. So I hear you completely. But we'll get there. Let's deal with that when we get there.
Let's keep on going. Let's go back to the start then. Let's have a look at the starting lineup, because there were quite a few significant changes that we thought were going to have to be made going into this game after the battle at Huddersfield Town. I do feel like it's a bit of a tired team at the moment when you're watching them, and who can blame them really after the schedule. But we had Connor Roberts, who came in, who I thought did really well tonight. Dan James starting again. It just kind of needed freshening up a bit, didn't it? And we certainly got that Sam Byram back as well. He's
played well as well.
What a timely return. He's kind of on and off with injuries, fairly recently, but great timing to have him back in. And he's just got that Sam Byram tenacity, hasn't he? Where he's so competent defensively, and really, it set off pretty well first half. But in terms of that lineup, Jason, were you happy to see those changes? Would you have expected to see potentially more changes?
Potentially, but I'd be cautious of doing too many. And when he has done too many in the past, it actually bit us on the arse against Stoke earlier on this season. So I would say that the changes that happened were fair. I thought Connor came in and played really well. I really like the way that he overlaps the winger. Archie doesn't do that as much. Archie tends to be the support act who's a bit deeper, cutting inside. I thought Dan James coming back in was spot on. I said that to you in the preview, and I like to see Dan James come back in, and he didn't disappoint. He just scares defenders to death. Like we can argue this point till we're blue in the face about who's going to be the better player when we step up to the Premier League, but we're not in the Premier League. And at a championship level, Dan James is far more effective. He's so direct, and defenders just can't deal with it. Nonto almost is better suited to the Premier League than he is to the Championship, even though the talent of the players he's playing against would be much higher. They react in different ways, and I just think Dan James is so suited to this at the moment. And he didn't even get pulled off when the subs happened. Creed did. Even when we were struggling in the second half, the threat that we had came through James. And the other change was who
else do we have?
Firpo for Byron.
Yeah.
I forgot who it was then for a minute. I think what was really nice about the two fullbacks tonight was the experience that was there and defensive kind of solidity that we had. It was nice to feel composed in them areas. And I know Firpo's offered us loads going forward recently, but he is always a bit of a bomb scare. And I thought Byron dealt with the situation down that right hand side really well. if you remember the first game, one of their best players was Hoover from right back, and it kind of felt like we boxed him off early with Byron being there. They got in a couple of times, but you're always going to have moments. So yeah, I was really happy with the changes. Would I like to see an Archie come in for Kamara? Maybe. I think Kamara's been dealt a bit of a rough hand in the way that some fans are seeing his performances. I think he's been excellent this season. He's had a couple of patchy moments in the previous 2 games, but I don't know. I think the experience of Kamara in there at this stage of the season is probably good, and I think it won't have done Archie any harm in him having a rest.
No, I agree. One comment from here from Skip Rutter is really annoying me lately with his constant holding on the ball and trying to do too much instead of playing these passes. It's interesting when we Rutter because I felt it started off a little bit, kind of looks to me jaded, maybe carrying an injury, and then he suddenly sparked into life on about 15-20 minutes, and I thought it was unplayable for a period of that game in the first half. And then second half couldn't really get hold of things, and he's come off, which I think tells you everything. And let's try and get him recovered for Friday night. I think him and Somerville are both not at 100% at the moment, and it's quite worrying. But they've got moments of magic in them. We know that. It's like with Somerville, you're seeing this kind of not dithering, but delaying, making a decision with the ball to shoot or pass. He's holding on to it too long. Eventually either runs it out or, the shot opportunity.
Like he's second guessing his body all the time.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah. It's kind of odd to watch because he was so kind of clinical in that area. And you almost can look at him and go, well, if he's not training, it's almost like, that bit of rust or not quite at the level, So it's a real tricky one for me with those 2 players because, I'd be love to say we give them a rest completely. I guess we just need to get through this run of games, don't we, Jason, and hopefully get a break and get their batteries recharged.
I think the thing with Gio is, Skip makes a really good point there with the constant holding the ball, but he always has done this.
Yeah.
Part of his play is almost running the ball to the point of the defender thinking they're going to get it, and then he nicks it away, And the problem is that when it doesn't come off time and time and time again in one particular game, you start to become irritated by it. But without them moments, you never have the moments where it then comes off. That's the problem with trying to analyze him as a player and their kind of performances. People can have they'll pick stats out from a defensive midfielder that never gives the ball away, 98% ball retention or whatever, but then be critical of a number 10, a Pablo Hernandez, who will try them thread of the needle balls constantly and will have a 60% pass retention rate. And it isn't all about the figure at the end of the rainbow. It's about what actually sometimes happens. You're going to give the ball away more when you're in them areas of the pitch. So I'm loath to criticize him too much. It is frustrating at times. I think Somerville's are frustrating at times too. It's like release. So a couple of moments in the second half where Dan James were through. Just play the ball, man. And it weren't just them 2, it were others as well. So yeah, I hear you, and I definitely think they are carrying knocks. I think that's evident. I think we're really evident against Town. It was probably less evident tonight, but I would still say that he's nursing through these games. I still won't be surprised to see him wheeled out on Friday.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Tom, welcome along, mate. Evening, gents, big win, but we have to give credit to Ipswich. They're ruthless and just don't give it up in the games. Yeah, I've been kind of reading some comments about Ipswich's performance second half, and they seem to have clicked right back into that kind of mode they were in before. It's actually 6 straight wins now as well, so they're putting a nice little winning streak together, and I think their fixtures are fairly kind to them as well.
They've got Southampton at home.
They have got, and they've got Hull away as well later on.
They will drop points, Brownie. They concede too many goals.
Yeah, they do.
There's going to be too many games where they can't bail themselves out because of this. We saw it in the 9-game run where they only won 1. And the thing is, the trend has continued. Take away the Plymouth game where they won 2-0. They're still conceding regular goals. You can't continue to keep on needing 3-4 goals to win games. No. So they've done unbelievably well, and we should give them 100% props. But I'm certain between now and the end of the season, they're gonna have 2-3 games where they don't take any points. So it's just on us.
Yeah.
Let's just do our business.
Well, this is why I we skipped comment earlier. I was surprised because I thought tonight we showed what we needed to do. And I think considering the schedule, considering all the games and players carrying injuries, I thought that was brilliant. I mean, in our group chat for the show, Lewis made a great point about, it's these type of games that, see you through. And it was an attritional 1-0 win. Yes, they created some chances, but like you said, they're fighting for their lives. And it's, it's two teams out there. And I thought we did enough first half to do it, and we could have wrapped the game up second half as well.
Browney, I think if Kamara or Somerville score the chance against Town, I think it's exactly the same game. Yeah. I think it's exactly the same game as that, because they were very similar in terms of the way that they were trying to play football away from the kicking and all the rest of it. They were trying to play fluid. They were trying to knock the ball about at times. They've got some technically okay or good players. It's just we need to score early against these teams, and we certainly need to score first. So,
Arthur, thank you for coming. Passing tonight was poor. Kamara and Paduta, but I mean, I must be seeing a different game with Kamara. I thought he was really good. I mean, I don't see it. I thought Kamara was. I think he's a superb ball carrier.
I thought he had moments tonight. I thought there were moments where it were a little loose. I don't completely. Well, I definitely don't agree with Arthur in that it was terrible, because he definitely wasn't terrible. But there was a couple of moments where he had simple passes to make. He made one in the first half. It were about a 5 or 10 yard pass to James. I think it was James or Cree on the left hand side, and it was just under hit, and it kind of bobbled through a little bit, and he knocks the ball out really, really well, and he opens up space extremely well. But I think for most fans, it goes under the radar because it's subtle. It's really, really subtle. I thought Gruev was excellent first half defensively, breaking up play, just always seemed to be in the right place. But even he became a little sloppy second half as well, giving the ball away. And so I kind of in the middle of the two. Definitely as an overall picture, Kamara's been excellent. It's been absolutely excellent this season. Yeah, I don't think we have a ball carrier better.
No, I don't. A couple here from Michael Melier, man of the match. This one, I think, Jay, you might have something to say about this. James done nothing apart from the.
What are you watching, Michael? I'm sorry, I can't say it any straighter than that. What are you watching? I mean, it was literally our most potent threat the whole game. It wasn't my man of the match. Man of the match we'll come to in a minute, but he was constant. I mean, yes, sometimes he's going to give the ball away, or sometimes the delivery won't meet a target, but he's an attacking player that is putting the ball into an area where there might be 1 or 2 attackers and 6 or 7 defenders. So often the ball is going to get dispossessed. If you want him to try and beat his man every time, or a lot of the times that he's got the ball, sometimes he's going to give it away. He was a constant threat down that side. He was scaring them to death, mate. I was so happy to have him back in there. For me, he's just so much more threatening than Nonto consistently.
I think he was man of the match. I think he was.
James.
I thought he was the difference. I thought he would obviously scored the goal, but I just felt his threat was different, and it
press
felt
as well, constant.
Yeah. Your man of the match then, Jason. Who are you picking out?
My man of the match was Pat. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was absolutely excellent, especially first half. He were dropping deep. He were knocking the ball in and around corners. He were holding it up really well. He were constant with the defenders, backing
that ball that he sprayed out on the.
Yeah, beautiful. Wasn't it? First time left foot ping through to Dan James after about 5 minutes. I thought the strike that he took, Everson saved it really, really well. But it was so often with Pat, he'll strike that and he'll strike it straight at the keeper. We see it all the time, strike it straight at the keeper. That wasn't. It was intended right across goal towards the bottom corner. It was from a long way out and a good angle for the keeper to save it. But it showed that his confidence and his fitness was back. I thought it was brilliant, mate. And the way that he linked up play and dropping in at the right time, stretching the defence at the right time, his press. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And again, it's probably a performance that will go under the radar. because a lot of fans won't look at it all. They'll just see him knocking the ball back and think, oh, he's knocked the ball back to a midfielder or whatever. And for me, it keeps you ticking all the time.
It's amazing. It's kind of amazing to watch Pat at the minute, because I just thought that had kind of evaporated from his game, but his control, he's kind of laying it off, all that. He looks really, really sharp again, does Bamford, and it's really good to watch, and it's part of his redemption story, isn't it? What he's doing at the moment.
He's out and out R9. He's out and out. He's head and shoulders. I mean, I've seen Michael say Joseph's seen better than Bamford. I mean, again, Michael, go and analyse the game over the whole entirety of the 90 minutes, rather than just picking up a sub that came on for 10 minutes and ran through one goal once. Like, you can't analyse it like that. Like, that's just nuts.
Yeah, because Michael, Joseph seemed better than Bamford. Yeah, I think Better's hard. I did think Joseph made an impact, though.
He did, definitely.
I felt like he gave something to that second half when we desperately needed it. I feel, because obviously he's got the legs and he can do kind of things what Pat does. It's just a different kind of thing, but he's more like Pat than, say, Pirro, obviously.
He's really, really owned into what Pat does well in this system and what Daniel Farke wants. You've seen Joseph adapt.
It's different, isn't he? He wasn't like that before,
he's changed. He's changed. The way that he holds the ball up, the way that he carries his body and puts his body in positions, he's really developing as a target man striker, a pressing forward. I've been really, really impressed with him. I'm not criticising or taking anything away from Joseph's performance by praising Pat. I think he did great when he came on. The chance that he had, he did brilliantly, took it round the keeper. The defender, that was fantastic defending, by the way. I mean, it's exactly what you want from your centre-back, is getting back on the line there where the keeper's a bit stranded. Nothing more that Joseph could have done with that. Really like him. I think he's a fantastic, asset to the team. He's definitely our second number 9 for me. If there's an option between him and Pirro to come on and change the game, you bring on Joseph in that 9 role. He puts his body about. He's strong. He's bulked up as well this summer. He's a lot bigger up top. His shoulders are bigger. He's growing into a man. Really, really, really happy with him. Really happy with him.
No, absolutely. You mentioned the other sub there, Pirro, as well. I mean, obviously, it's been a bit of a tough old time for Pirro at the moment. Not getting as much game time as he probably likes. I mean, we talked about his confidence potentially dipping. I actually thought he rallied well today. I thought there were a moment where his composure and his technique is top. Just came to the fore, holding it on, laying off the right ball when we needed it. Which is more promising, isn't it? That's if someone's going to come in for Rutter, we need Pirro to be at it, don't we? Really, and doing that, at a basic level, even if he's not scoring like he was. I mean, how long since Pirro scored? Actually, it's been a while now, hasn't it?
Yeah, the penalty against penalty at home in the last minute, I think it was Preston.
Yeah, Preston wasn't it?
I think what he did when he came on today showed a bit more confidence. The moment where he took the ball about halfway, and the easy pass had been to give it to Nonto, but it put him in trouble, and he went long to Joseph instead and won as a throw-in. It was really smart, really clever. I thought he put himself on part a little bit today, and I think that's half the frustration with the fans with Pirro is that he's a big guy, he's a bit of a unit, and he shirks out some challenges. He
does.
He half hops for headers, and he's just a little bit of a pussy at times. He don't. I can't think of another word for it.
To be honest, though, but it's almost like Joseph was similar before. Like he wouldn't really kind of get stuck in, and now he's kind of changed. And even Pat Bamford wasn't like that before Bielsa. He was very much like not physical. But he transformed. It's that with Pirro, it's like, is he going to get to that stage, I guess, which I think you absolutely need to be in, certainly this league. And if you've got ambitions of going to the Premier League, you've got to have that physicality a bit, haven't you?
I thought Pirro did well when he came on today. He's horses for courses, and I think we're all tired of kind of talking about the fact that he doesn't fit the system, and he just doesn't. He just doesn't. He doesn't fit at 10. He doesn't fit at 9. But he's got a part to play, and I feel almost convinced that between now and the end of the season, he'll have a big moment. Will Yul Pirro? He's a game winner. He's definitely a game winner. I mean, he's still contributed, I think it's 11 goals and 2 assists this season. There's nobody I'd want more on a penalty. He's cool as you like. He's a very, very good finisher. So, I mean, at the end of the day, he's not starting games because he's not right for the system right now. And Daniel Farke's been big enough to do that with our top signing. So, yeah.
No, exactly. Someone, I mean, we did mention him briefly when Michael said about him being man of the match, but Melier, I thought there were a couple moments where he was a bit flappy. A couple moments where there was one when first half where he kind of came out and he was like half and half. But
I mean, it could have been caught out with that.
Yeah, but I suppose look, he is that type of keeper, to be honest, though, isn't he? He's a little bit like occasionally. But I thought some of the saves obviously were terrific, and in the end, he's had a decent performance, I think.
I think the calls for him to be man of the match would be fair. I mean, I wouldn't give it to him personally, but I understand why you would get it. I thought he played really, really well tonight overall. There was that moment in the first half. If the Stoke lad gets that on target, it's a free goal. It's an empty goal, basically. But there were a couple of big saves at big moments. There were one where he came out and collected the ball, and he because of the stretch and then clattering into the player, he drops it. But the reaction to get there and be brave and get it on the second attempt was massive. I really liked his performance tonight. I thought it was solid. His distribution was decent as well. The fact he puts himself under a lot of pressure. Daniel Farke puts him under a lot of pressure with the way that we play. And he 99 times out of 100, he gets it right. Either giving it to Rodon, giving it to Ampadu, going back, going forward. The ball comes back to him a lot. And if he makes a mistake, it's a goal. And touch wood, but there hasn't been one that's come from that this season yet. Danny Farke's asking him to do a lot. So, and then the shot stopping side of it, again, another clean sheet today. And we can't say that we're fully down to the defence today. They still had an all right game, but he put some work in, did Melier today. So props where it's due,
Did you think Farke could have done more to kind of change the tide of that game in the second half? Do you think? Because I said in the group maybe did Archie need to come on in midfield or something? I thought Gruev lost it a bit in that second half. He kind of recovered a bit towards the end, but do you think there was something? I mean, the difficult thing is when you've kind of got a manager that's got a set formation, and it's like for like, it's very difficult then to even really change it, isn't it, like that? If he was a manager went, right, now we'll go 3 at the back, or we'll stick 3 in centre mid, or,
The problem is, and we've had this conversation several times this season, and if we'd have conceded, we'd have come on here and said he should have done X, and we would have then been right. But the facts are, we've got to the end of this game winning 1-0, doing what he did. So he's right on this occasion. He didn't need to. And maybe in that moment, if we'd have made changes to Gruev and Kamara, we'd have lost more control over the game. It's hard to sometimes come into them games. The work that them lads in midfield got through resulted in Pearson being sent off. It's a real fine margins. It's real tricky to get right. And at the end of the day, Daniel Farke lives and breathes on his decisions. And tonight, winning 1-0, overall, it wasn't an onslaught by Stoke or anything. We got over the line against a team that are fighting for their lives, and I think they are way out of position. The quality that they've got in comparison to a Plymouth or a Town or Sheffield Wednesday, I mean, they've got so much more quality, in my opinion. A bit toothless up front, but that aside, they've got some real quality in that team. Real quality.
Yeah, it's staggering, isn't it, really, to look at the position where they are at the moment. Let's have a look at it then, league table, Jason, see where we stand. We're going to be looking at this a lot over the next few weeks. Leicester, do you think Leicester have kind of now you'll probably see them go on a run, do you think?
No. I think Leicester are still on real shaky ground, today. Stats don't mean anything. Well, not anything, but they don't mean everything. But when you're analysing a game or trying to take a bit out of the game, when you've not watched it, Sunderland tonight, they've lost 4 on the bounce. They had 17 shots against Leicester's 10. Very even possession. It tells me that it was probably a fairly even game, and it finished 1-0 to Leicester. We're coming off the back of losing 3 in a row as well. Sunderland have got a caretaker manager. They're a little bit all over the place as well. let's see how Leicester continue, because it's going to be really, really interesting. You know, they go 1-0 down in a game, especially at home. How do the crowd react? We already know that they're not happy, and they're on 81 points and been running away with the division all season. So it'll just be interesting to see. The 3 points in front of Ipswich is nothing. 5 points in front of us, 1 game slip away. So no, I don't expect them to now go and win the next 10 games or whatever. Personally,
I'm hoping, because I mean I've said this a few times, but when you look at the goal difference, we've got the second best goal difference. I feel like that's a massive indicator of where you should be and where you'll end up finishing up. So I'm hoping that comes to fruition. I mean, Southampton having some wacky games as well. Like they're having some wacky results at Southampton. I mean, it's but it's one of them. I mean, I can see you can just see all 4 teams just going on and on and on. I mean, it's staggering, really, isn't it?
10 games to go, mate. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts to watch. Every single week, the round of fixtures is just going to make such a difference to the table. And it only takes 1 slip. And who slips first, who blinks first kind of thing. I still
Are you ready for this, Jason? Are you mentally ready?
I'm ready for your meltdown, mate. Yeah. I was just saying, guys, before we came on, I've seen a different side of Browney over this last few weeks because he's just kind of deteriorated around me. I've been quite cool and composed so far. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was a little bit nervous going into today's game. I always felt confident that we would win the game, but as it builds in, it becomes more important. And every game now between now and the end of the season is going to feel a little bit more like that. But I just feel like Southampton and Ipswich concede too many goals. And when push comes to shove and they're in them pressurized moments and these teams are coming up against them and we also need to win games, they're going to be there for the picking. Look at Ipswich's goals against in comparison to ours. We've got the best defense in the league, 28 goals conceded. Ipswich have conceded 19 goals more than us. It's nuts, really, when you think about it. I
mean, how many times have we seen that from Ipswich this season where they've been losing and they literally pull it back to 3-2? They must have had 3-2 as a result. God knows how many times.
3-2, 4-3.
I mean, I've seen it. It's happened so many times where they've been losing. I mean, it's kind of unbelievable what they're doing. And surely that kind of runs out after a bit. But fair play to them for getting back on it.
I can just live comfortably in the knowledge that if we don't go up, it's not because of any more that we could have done.
No,
because what we're doing is still record breaking. Yeah. It's unbelievable. So if Ipswich get there and we don't, fair play to you. Just fair play, because it's unbelievable. To have only lost 4 games after coming out of League One last season, it's just incredible. It's incredible performance.
It is. And you know what? We deserve a pat on the back because I think after Saturday, I think just the furrow around that game and how it went. And I just think to then come back on the Tuesday and grind out the win, that's massive. Because, we won 9 games on the trot, and hauled ourselves into this automatic fight, which is incredible, really, from where we were. And to come out Tuesday and get the win over Stoke, I mean, fair play to us. I mean, looking ahead, Jason, it's another real difficult game on Friday night.
Friday's a tough.
A few weeks ago, you'd be looking at a fixture against Sheffield Wednesday, and you'd be going, it's a Yorkshire derby, so it might be a bit prickly. But the run that they're on, they're fighting for their lives. They've brought them. I mean, they've done really well, haven't they? Brought themselves right back into that relegation fight. It's a game almost where I'm just not looking forward to it. I've got to admit, I'm almost like, you always look forward to a Leeds game being on, but I'm just like, I don't know. I'm kind of dreading it a little bit, No,
I couldn't agree with you more, mate. I mean, I just brought up the form table where you were chatting there. They've won 4 on the spin, Sheffield Wednesday. 4 on the spin. They've won the last 3 at home. They caused us a bit of trouble earlier on in the season. I do think we're a very different team to what we were then. But I would say that they're a different team too, and they've got so much to play for now. They've come from not really standing a chance of staying up, not quite as badly as Rotherham, but they were cut adrift, to now being level on. I mean, I'm just looking at the bottom. Have you seen the bottom?
Oh, it's
at the table tonight.
It's insane.
So just to read it out, you've got Sheffield Wednesday on 38, Stoke on 38, Town on 38, QPR on 38. That's the after Rotherham, that's the bottom 4. You've then got Birmingham 39, Blackburn 40, Millwall 40, Plymouth 40. Like you've literally got 16th to 23rd separated by 2 points.
And then Swansea in 15th, just 2 more points.
42.
And then Middlesbrough, who have got a couple of games in hand, to be fair, on 44, and then Watford 44. It's just...
I would argue that Swansea may be still in it. I would probably say 44 upwards, they'll probably be okay. But it's just, can you even rule out Middlesbrough? I don't know. But what I do know is that, look, they'll be looking at themselves going into Friday's game with it's their first opportunity probably for months and months and months that they've had an opportunity to get out of the bottom 3. So if they win that game, they go into the weekend knowing that they put all the pressure on all them other teams if they win that game. So Yorkshire Derby, they're going to be right up for it. Very similar to Town. They consider us a massive rival, whereas we don't really think of them as anything, truthfully. Sheffield Wednesday even less so than Town, I would argue. So... it's a tough game. It's a game again that we need to try and come through. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't be surprised if we drop points. I wouldn't be surprised.
No. I think for me, you've got to assert yourself in that game early. I don't think there can be any hesitancy. I think it's got to be full steam ahead, Jace. I think we've seen a few times occasionally. We did it against Town where after that early chance, we just kind of played within ourselves a little bit and we didn't dominate. And I think we've got to try and dominate them. We've got to, all our good points and what we're about, we've got to try and impose on them, get back to that level, because their crowd is going to be all over us. It's going to be hostile. They're going to get, let's be honest, whoever's reffing it, they're going to get the majority of the decisions. 100% they'll get the majority of the decisions, no doubt about it. And we've got to match them toe for toe, and we've got to try and get that intensity level up, which I think at Town was just lacking a little bit. I don't feel we were fully up to the level we need to be. However, I can't be too critical because we've been on an unbelievable run, and you're not going to keep that up for, however many games. It's just not going to happen. So I would love, let's get an early goal, let's protect it, and if it ends up being a little bit like tonight, fine. Just try and do it, but I'm gonna be shocking Friday. Honestly,
I think
we're gonna have to get someone like Lewis to come on with you. Something like that.
I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to do a review because Joshua's fighting straight after, Joshua and Garner was on Friday night. So
what time is that due to actually?
About 10:30. So about now. So
we'll have to do. Yeah, I won't mind watching that.
Maybe we can do it Saturday morning, once we slept on it or something. But we'll iron that one out. But I think we've got to be careful not to be too critical of the other night. I think we've done a real good job of kind of analysing and reviewing, reflecting on that game, and understanding it's an isolated game. But a lot of these are going to be isolated situations and fixtures. And Sheffield Wednesday bring their own kind of stewed up pot for us now. If we'd been playing them 5 games ago, we'd be thinking, well, they're dead and buried. We can beat these, no problem. Now they're coming into the back of this game on 4 straight wins, and they've put themselves in a position where they can stay up out of nowhere. So we got to deal with that, because Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton, they're going to deal with their own versions of it too. So Ipswich is a great example. They keep on pulling these results out of the bag. That's not happening by chance. So
Alison here, if we play like we did tonight, we will be beaten on Friday.
I disagree with that. I think, again, to be too critical of tonight's performance is harsh.
Yeah, I get where she's coming from, but it's hard because it's going to happen. Teams are desperate. They're going to create chances, and you have to ride your luck at times, aren't you?
Stoke have just beaten Middlesbrough at home at the weekend. They're buoyed by that result. They've got good players. They've got a decent team, and they are probably, for me, the most out of place team in the division. I would argue. I'm just looking at the table now. I would argue that they've got a better team than Cardiff in 11th. The 11 that are out there. So the talent that they've got, it's a strongish championship side. And they had moments tonight, but they weren't able to dominate us. We still should have won that game by 2 or 3, really, if we'd have taken our chances. Were we right at it? No. We were still probably a bit leggy, but we've played 3 games since Wednesday. including a trip to Stamford Bridge where we put everything in, including a Yorkshire derby at 12:30 where we put everything in, and then back here again tonight. Like, let's just cut them a little bit of slack and just say, fair play, they've got over the line with another 3 points.
Absolutely, yeah. And once we get through this period, we get a break after Sheffield Wednesday. We get a nice 8-day break or 9-day break, I think, actually, because we don't play then till Millwall the following Sunday.
We're playing some tin pot, aren't we, at the moment?
Yeah, I've got a hospitality one for that, Jason. So I'm looking forward to that. Yes, I can't wait. Nice. But yeah, it's going to be absolutely fascinating. Just waiting for a few comments from Farker come through. I think Pope is updated. It said Farker says it's the most pleasing win of 2024. Very proud of grinding out a win and a clean sheet after a difficult second half. I love hearing Farker speak about the Championship, actually, because he's just kind of. He just knows the ebb and
the oracle, isn't it?
Yeah, just the way he talks about, I heard him talking after the Huddersfield game. He's saying, look, if we could win all our home games, and look, you want to win away games, but look, a point in this league is not bad away from home, and yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see what comes along Friday, to be honest.
The problem is, Browney, right? And I just seen Steve's comment there, and I think we're so encapsulated by being involved in it, the emotion of it. Over the years, when we've watched these teams get promoted, Norwich, West Brom, Sheffield United, whoever it might be that have gone up instead of us, before Bielsa especially, even Daniel Farker's Norwich, there'll have been several weeks where these results happened. These 1-0s at home, where they've got over the line, didn't play particularly well, but you didn't watch the game. You just saw a 1-0 result, where the home team maybe had 15 shots, the away team had maybe 10 shots like we did tonight, I think, with 15 and 13, and you won't have thought anything about it. But because you're living and breathing it now, it's, we got away with one tonight. I don't think that's right. That's a mark of a team that gets promoted, that doesn't play as well as what we've seen throughout 2024 so far in this run of games that we've had, but we still come out with the 3 points. And we deserve to come out with the 3. I don't think we got away with one. I think we won a close game tonight.
Yeah.
And that's what we should be doing. We're third in the league for a reason.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In terms of what you would do with the team going into that Sheffield Wednesday match, do you freshen it up again? Archie, what do you do with Archie? I think it would be harsh to drop Connor Roberts.
I would drop Connor Roberts.
I'm just wondering if now Archie in midfield maybe needs to happen, or I don't know. It's a head scratch. I mean, we know Farker loves Gray, and he's been superb. But I think away to Sheffield Wednesday, have a proper right back, experienced, knows what he's doing, can handle that experience. We've seen Archie against Huddersfield. We've seen Archie in other games where he's never overawed, but he's not a proper right back. And I just think. For me, you keep Roberts in there, and maybe Gray gets a game in midfield. I don't know. It's only 3 days away, isn't it? So, maybe we need to freshen it up in midfield.
It's definitely a bit of a selection headache. I would be probably saying bring Firpo back in, not because Byram had a bad game, just to give us that balance out on that wing. From an attacking perspective, we can go down that wing and get on the overlap again. You didn't see a lot of Byram overlapping tonight just because he physically can't with him not being left-footed. The delivery is just not the same. We saw it after about 10 seconds of Firpo, and we made 2 changes on that side. Firpo and Gray came on, didn't they? Firpo and Gray came on together, and Firpo was instantly in down the left-hand side, crossed one in, and it got cleared away. So I'd probably be saying bring Firpo back in. Would I bring Archie in for Kamara? I literally, for me, that is one that I'd probably take right up to the last minute, and I'd still struggle to make the decision.
Do you know what? I've got one for you. I would even maybe possibly think about getting Ampadu back in midfield. The reason why for me is I think he's got that snap in him. I think he's got that intensity in him. I would be tempted to bring Ampadu back, and maybe Ampadu and Gray.
Maybe Cooper into the defence, though.
Yep. No, I would. I think Cooper versus Sheffield Wednesday. I think that's a perfect Cooper game. I really do. I think that's a game for Cooper. I mean, I don't think Kamara and Gruev necessarily need dropping, but for the type of game, I think you need that man in the middle who can snap into a tackle. I think if you get Archie and Amps in there, I think we'd be.
I hear you.
Fine. I don't think it'll happen. By the way,
I hear you. By the way, I don't think it's a crazy call. I think if Pascal's fit, that makes a lot of sense. I think Ethan's shown recently, his ability in that area of the pitch, even tonight, driving the ball out of the back line. I wouldn't want to change that back line. Personally, it's not a decision I would make, but I hear you. I hear the back two when I say the back line. Tricky one. I hear why you would make that, though. I do think Gruev's looked a little bit leggy the last two games.
Was he carrying an injury as well, though? Isn't there something going on with him as well?
He was out till Friday, wasn't he? And then didn't train before Town, came straight in and played pretty much the whole game against Town. I might have played the whole game, I can't remember.
He's not looked at the level, has he, that he was?
No, he's not looked quite as sharp, quite as mobile. But we'll see. Gruev and Kamara, for me, has been the best midfield combination we've seen this season when it's been fully at it. So it's going to be. It's kind of nice, actually. I mean, it's one of those things that can happen where you've got Connor Roberts now, who's getting more and more game time, got his first start. Where you're thinking, could be perfect timing because we need extra bodies in midfield, extra options in midfield, especially with like an Archie. I mean, what else have we got at centre back? I mean, it's just literally Cooper, isn't it? I know Creswell's on the bench, but you wouldn't bring. It's not the time, mate.
He's not played all year. I mean, God knows what we're going to do with him at the end of the season. But a couple more comments coming in from Fark. He says, it feels like Leeds against the world, so we need our supporters even more. Fark said he'd like a cup of tea with the person who sorts the punishing schedule, recognises his players were a bit slow waiting for the transition to happen in the second half compared to the first. For me, I'll be if we don't get promoted, and I said this tongue-in-cheek on the football show the other night about, Sky Sports trying to keep us in the league. But, I mean, there's got to be a part of you, Jason, where you're thinking, for goodness sake, what they've done with our schedule, the fact that now we're playing on Friday after this, it is infuriating. And if you're Farky, you're just thinking, if we could prepare fairly against teams, probably 9 times out of 10 we'd win the game.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't think it's an agenda from a perspective of let's make this really difficult for them so we keep them down. I think what it is they don't care, and all they care about is putting us on TV as to when suits getting the viewers. That's it. And because the facts are is people watch Leeds, whether they're a fan or not a fan of Leeds, they tune in to watch Leeds. You will have Premier League fans tuning in tonight to watch Leeds, because they like to see us lose. It's exactly the same as somebody tuning in to watch the favourite boxer. Like I hear a lot of people over the years that have detested Floyd Mayweather, but whether you loved him or hate him, you tuned in to watch him because you wanted to see him lose. And the same goes for us. So I understand it. It is harsh. We had it before, and we had it under Bielsa. It was exactly the same kettle of fish. And I just think it's something that we just, it's that shirt weighs heavy. You have to learn to live with it. If you're going to have the adulation and the joy of playing in front of 36,000 at Ellen Road, you have to kind of take some of these. And that's why it takes a special certain player and character to play for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would think so many good players wilt and disappear.
No, exactly. This backs up what we were saying earlier about Ipswich as well. Ipswich Town have now picked up 28 points from losing positions in the Championship this season. I mean, that must be close to some kind of record or something. That's phenomenal, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure we're second to that, though. I saw it on Sky the other week, I think it was, against Leicester. Bear in mind, we picked up 3.
Feel like have we really come back a lot of time from...
Earlier on in the season, when we were doing it every week, if you remember, we went 1-0 down against Swansea at home and then scored 2 goals pretty much straight away. We did the same the week before. We conceded in the first couple of minutes, and we did it against Leicester only 2 weeks ago. 1-0 down and ended up winning 3-1. So I see what that Ipswich one's impressive. I think that ours is about 19 or 20 points, something like that, from losing positions. All you can say is fair play to them. fair play to him. It's a hell of an achievement. I've got Twitter up and a page next to me, and I just think the psychology of some of the fan base is absolutely wild. So this is my guess for the remaining fixtures worth of points. Leicester 33 points. Well, that's interesting considering the fact that they've only got 30 points to play for. This is what some of our fan base do to themselves, by the way. So this person's predicted that Leicester are going to win 33 points out of a possible 30, even though they've lost 3 of the last 4. Ipswich on 26 points, so they're going to drop 4 points. Leeds 21 points, so we're going to drop 9 points. We're going to lose 3 games, even though we've won 10 of the last 11 and not lost this year. And Southampton are going to get 19 points. Now, you know what? They might be right, but based on what? Based on what information are we making these kind of accusations towards this team? Like, this team has done unbelievable this year. How many points are we in front of the Bielsa side at this stage? It must be about 15 points.
Yeah, it's a lot of points. Well, I think this is the thing as well. It's I think that's why Farker makes that comment as well, that we need the Leeds crowd as well, because obviously we can't have anxious atmospheres at Ellen Road. Really, we've got to be patient, and trust in them. And you're absolutely right. On paper, when you look at it, there's no reason why we should feel this kind of level of but it's just how bonkers it is at the moment. The fact that all these teams have got stuff to play for. So even games you thought before, oh, that's going to be a banker. Not anymore, because everyone's fighting for something. Christ,
Championship's always been like this, though. I remember the season that we went up, we made an absolute pig's ear of that game against Barnsley at home. We ended up winning 1-0 from an own goal. Do you remember it? It was awful.
Shocking game.
Barnsley were in unbelievable form at the time. They went on to end up staying up in the last game of the season with basically the last kick of the game. Clark Adore scored for Barnsley that day. I'll never forget that, because I was watching it come through. And I think they'd taken something like 12 points from the last 15. And the dropping points in that run was against us. And we beat them 1-0 at Ellen Road. And we probably didn't even deserve it that day. But the point is again, we turned up and we did it. This is what happens to these promotion teams. Maybe we just don't know it because we've not been in these positions all that often. All our kind of recollection is Bristol Rovers and the bottle job that we did up until Bristol Rovers, and then we got over the line. Bottling it the year against Wigan and Sheffield United, and then missing out in the playoffs, and then getting over the line with Bielsa. That's it. That's our kind of recollection and experience in promotion battles over the last 20 years. So I get it. I understand it, but we're not this cursed poison chalice. We're just in a promotion battle, which is a battle in attrition.
Absolutely. And this is what, I mean, if you'd have given me this position at the start of the season, I'd have absolutely yes. I remember us on here. I mean, you said probably playoffs this season. I was kind of like, I don't know, it could be, who knows? You would have absolutely bitten the hands off for this position. And the facts are, you look at our defensive record, it's excellent, best in the league. And quite often that dictates where you'll finish up, or certainly teams at the top are good defensively. And you look at these crazy games Ipswich are still involved in, and the way Southampton have been involved in crazy games, it does point to the fact that Leeds can see this through. We just have to believe, don't we?
100%. And I mean, our blip, if you want to call it a blip, was probably at the beginning of the season. Not this blip, 100%. Not this blip.
Yeah,
right
the blip.
The actual blip. Our poor form came right at the beginning of the season while we were all over the place, a bit of a mess. We hadn't had a 1 win in 9 like Ipswich have. We hadn't had 3 losses in the row like Leicester have just had. And these teams are all teams around us. Southampton, I think, have lost 3 of the last 5. So, just all I'm saying is let's just be fair to ourselves as fans. This team have won 10 out of 11 games and drew 1. Come on.
It's bonkers. I mean, we only won 1 in the first 5 games of the season.
Exactly.
And then 2 in 6. I mean, it was, and then we got pumped by Southampton not long after that. So, it's just been a slow recovery from that start, really.
Did you see the James? I just seen Arthur mention about the penalty. You were about 10 minutes into behind watching game, weren't you? So I think you missed it.
Yeah, well, I actually managed to see that bit. I did.
Did you think it was a penalty?
When I saw it, I was like, I've not seen it again. When I saw it, I was like, surely, because he gets to the ball and then
he gets to the ball and knocks it through the keeper's legs, doesn't it? And the keeper just takes him out.
Takes him out. Like,
I mean,
surely
it's a stone waller, I thought.
Like, surely that's. Surely it is, but yeah, it was almost like it happened too early in the game, and the ref was like, "No,
I thought exactly that.
We can't give a penalty." He's probably thinking, "Oh, bloody hell, might have to." Before we wrap up, then, Jason, and I get a prediction for the Sheffield Wednesday game. What about the Joshua fight? Then, what you thinking happens? He's beast in it in Ghana. I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it?
He's a freak. I mean, I'm a huge boxing fan, and I'm not a fan particularly of ever MMA or UFC. I've watched a little bit over the years, but I've never really got into it. It's not my bag. But all general consensus says that Joshua should absolutely school him. I think Fury underestimated him in the fight in Ngannou's debut. I think Fury was underprepared, and I think AJ now has the blueprint. He knows what he's dealing with, whereas Fury didn't. I think AJ is massively underrated. I think he's extremely underappreciated in this country. I can't believe an Olympic gold medalist, 2-time world champion, that's done as much as he has, gets so much stick. He loses twice to arguably the best fighter on the planet in Alexander Usyk. And he avenges a loss against Ruiz. Like, what more can the guy do? He's beaten everybody else that's been put in front of him. He signed for Wilder, he signed for Fury, and neither of them fights happened because of things outside of his control. Is
it because people just wanted him to keep knocking everybody out, and then when that stops because you're fighting better fighters, it's like, oh, why is he not doing what he used to do?
I think the facts are is the heavyweight division attracts more casual boxing fans, and all they see is the highlight reel knockout, and once they stop, the appreciation changes. And I personally think that's what it is. I think if it was any other weight division, the boxing fans would absolutely love everything about him. But I don't know. It's a weird one with Joshua and Fury. You know, Fury's an absolute bum. He says what he says. He's vulgar. Some of the things that he comes out with, some of the things that he stood for and done in his life, yet he's heralded as some sort of hero. And don't get me wrong, to come back down from 30 stone and win the world championship again is incredible, but he forever runs away from the fights that really matter. Yet AJ gets hit with this stick in this country. I can't really understand it, but
I think Fury dominated the narrative though, didn't he, for a number of years, where it was like, I think he put it in a lot of people's head about Joshua, didn't he, really? And all that kind of thing. So,
great. I think he wins anyway, to come to the point. I think he should win.
I can't believe how big that Ngannou is, though. Like, I was watching, do you know the little, I know it's not through Sky, is it? But, the little pre-match thing, and I watched a couple of minutes, and the size of him, I mean, Joshua looks smaller compared to
He's a unit, mate, and he can bang. I mean, Ngannou is the biggest puncher in the world statistically. Yeah. He's the heaviest puncher in combat sports. So, and at that weight, you cannot mess around with that. It doesn't matter how technically better Joshua might be. He's an Olympic gold medalist, so he should be in an art form that he's trained in his whole life, whereas Ngannou's not. But the facts are is that punch is a massive equalizer. He's a big guy. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a really, really good fight. I don't think it'll be a walkover, but I would expect AJ to outbox him and probably pick him off and stop him around 6 or 7. That'd be my guess.
Good stuff. Leeds United predictions. Then we've got one here from Stevie. Sheffield Leeds 1-1. Our legs have gone unless Farker makes changes. I stand by my prediction. If he changes the team, we might win. Our legs and heads have gone. No, I don't agree with that, Stevie. I think I could fully see us dropping points. It's not the end of the world. It's going to be a tense watch.
It blows my mind, Browney, that we've won 10 out of 11 games, guys. We've just seen this team win again. Come on.
Predictions then, Jason. What are you saying for Sheffield Wednesday then?
The thing is, I don't think Steve's prediction's a bad prediction. No. I can see one, but let's not make it out we've capitulated, we're falling apart, his legs have gone. We might be dealing with a bit of fatigue. That's a little bit different. We're dealing with another Yorkshire derby. We're dealing with another relegation candidate who are fighting for the lives that have won 4 games in a row. You know, we suck as if we drop 2 points against them after they've won 4 on the bounce. I'd say 1-0 would probably be a decent prediction. I still think that we'll get over the line in it. I think we'll win this one. I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be similar to tonight. I would go for 2-1. That'd be my prediction as well. I think they will probably score at home, given the form that they've had. They may even go in front, but I think we'll have enough to just get it over the line.
Yeah. I gotta agree. I think just enough to get over the line. I'd be really happy with that, to be honest. Digler, we've got to not panic. Lol, it's easier said than done though. Being a Leeds fan, indeed, my nerves are going to be shredded by the end of this run. But this is what it's about, innit? This is what it's passion in it, I suppose.
Enjoy it, guys. I keep saying every week I come on these reviews. Enjoy it, because I tell you, if we do go up, which is the best possible situation from this, we're not going to enjoy it as much as this. As much as I want to be in the Premier League.
Yeah, that's true, is that?
Fighting
Sheffield
around
United last night, or other night, And
I don't think we'll be that bad. I think the club will get the investment right and all the rest of it, and we'll talk about that later. But the fact that we'll be in for battle for 14th, 15th, staying up, it's not going to be as much fun as winning every week in a promotion battle. So let's just try and enjoy this as much as possible. We didn't get to enjoy the last one, did we?
No, exactly. Let's just kind of enjoy it, like you say. Colin, North Wales white and yellows Leeds all over MOT. Welcome along, Colin. Make sure you subscribe, mate. Really appreciate you coming along. Good stuff. We got through it, Jason. We've picked up another win. It's going to be a battle to the death, isn't it? This league title and things at the bottom as well.
It is, mate. And I mean, just to kind of cut you off before you round up there. Yeah. I'm seeing just a couple of comments in the chat there about other teams. Ipswich are back and forward in these goal bonanzas. Leicester, losing 3 on the bounce and then just getting over the line against Sunderland tonight, not playing well, the fans complaining. Southampton, 3 losses out of the last 5. And Leeds have won 10 out of 11 games with 1 draw. Yeah, so really, we're the team that you want to be. We're still that team that you want to be. And we're not really, looking at it and being like, oh, we're this, we're that. We've lost these games. We've lost 2. We're conceding goals all over the place. We're not doing any of that. We're just going about as business. About as business. So let's not lose our heads, even if we do drop points on Friday.
Imagine if it's playoffs, though. What is the discourse going to be like then? It's going to be... I'll just lay my cards out. If we get to the playoffs, I'm a wreck, mate. I'm a wreck.
I don't want to do
it. It's so negative, by the way.
You can have Lewis.
Playoffs. Yeah.
You can. I'll get you Steve Downs on. You can have Downs instead.
Good stuff. I want to thank everyone who's joined us for the stream tonight and got your comments in. Really appreciate it. If you've not already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. We're getting towards the 1,000 mark on the subscriber.
Get that number up.
So, get that number up, guys. Really appreciate it. Myself and Jason will be back at some point to cast our eye over the Sheffield Wednesday game.
Saturday, probably.
That. Yeah, probably Saturday morning or something. We'll try and get one together, which should be good. Hopefully, all things considered. We go again. Another 3 points for Leeds United. Difficult game, but we got through it. Long may it continue. Really appreciate you watching. Thank you for your time. I've been Stephen Brown. With me has been Jason Booker. Jason, thank you, mate.
Thank you, mate.
And we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.